Many gamers claim that the MMO genre is dead or that the general interest isn't there anymore. I believe this to be false for multiple reasons in which I'll get into in this here video. I believe the problem with MMORPGs is not that the gaming community has moved on from them. I think the problem is that many modern game developers are lacking in talent, creativity, vision, and the ability to visualize an apple in their heads. The recent failed release of Project Epoch, a Classic Plus WoW private server, shows just how much desire there still is for MMORPGs. Of course, 30,000 people isn't an enormous population, but need I remind you that this server is simply a tiny illegal private server with absolutely zero marketing other than scuffed bum-ass YouTubers such as myself. Come to think of it, it's actually crazy impressive that Epoch managed to blow up as much as it did, since most of the content creators will not touch WoW private server content due to the fact they risk getting their channels taken down or risk losing out on being invited to Blogsword's press events. But don't kid yourself. These creators, even if not creating content for the servers, can be seen lurking in the Discord or comment sections. All of the most popular WoW emulation projects at the moment are those that promise a Classic Plus experience, but with additional modern horizontal content added. The fact that mainstream developers, or even Blizzard for that matter, have yet to figure this out is absolutely pathetic. And if I'm TBH honesting to be honest, it's not just WoW private servers. Jagex has been capitalizing on this growing desire since 2013 with the release of OSRS, and now it's paying off bigly. OSRS is hitting new all-time highs weekly and is one of the few MMORPGs that is actively growing. Some say it's even entered a new golden age of gaming prowess. Players have given up on the new releases, not even feeling a slight amount of excitement, and have instead returned to games designed with a classic MMO game dev philosophy such as OSRS, Project Epoch, or Turtle WoW. I'm sorry guys, but I can't help myself here. I've never had the opportunity to unleash my absolute hatred on this game until this moment. So if you're an Amazon New World enjoyer, I suggest you either click off or brace for impact. When Amazon New World launched, it had an absolutely enormous player base, so clearly the market was there for these games, and it's still there. The problem with New World wasn't that video game players are sick of the MMO genre. The problem was that the game was just straight up dog trash. The devs decided to rug pull the uniqueness of their PvP focused survival MMORPG game and instead release another 1 to 60 linear bore asshole grinding simulator WoW clone have an ass, no endgame have an ass, whack piece of shit. I seriously hate that game and hated it when it came out. Not only this, but the leveling process was devoid of any store, lore, or world building. The entire game was just task boards of the same soulless grinds and arbitrary linear 1 to X leveling process. I remember absolutely praying for this game's downfall after testing the free open beta for a few hours. You could feel the complete lack of vision, creativity, and soul this game had. I would have respected the developers more if they stuck with their original vision and had it flop completely, rather than being cowards and releasing the uninspired copy-pasted slop that they did. Yet, despite how horribly uncreative and uninspired that game was, it still managed to reach a whopping 900,000 concurrent players during its launch, which to be honest sickened me to the core for such an uninspired, uncreative, soulless piece of shit to have such success. Of course, that success didn't last long, as anyone without the FOMO hype beast gene knew it was gonna flop. And as you can tell by the Steam charts, flopping it did. Because let's face it, this curated theme park worked for World of Warcraft because it was a rare and unique cultural phenomenon built upon years of Warcraft lore and talented game designers. But as I have been ranting about occasionally on this channel for the past couple years, this design is awful. If we want to play a tab target theme park MMO, we will play World of Warcraft, a game in which we already have invested hours into, a game that has good world building, interesting characters, and nostalgic zones and music. We will not play a clunkier, scuffed World of Warcraft for very long. Maybe you can reel in people who are desperate to be a part of the FOMO Fresh Brigade and are unable to realize that their enjoyment of the game stems from it being new and novel rather than actually being a well-designed video game. Honeymoon phase, if you will. But these people never stick around for long. I think the RuneScape video I made does a decent job explaining this topic a bit more, but if you CBF to watch it, I'll sum it up with this. It turns out that invalidating all of the content you pay people to design and all of the time players invested into that content every 2 months is not the most sustainable MMORPG design. Why all of these new MMOs trying to copy and paste World of Warcraft's horrendous expansion model, play the patch design, is crazy and one of the largest reasons for the mass floppage of MMOs. Jumping back into Project Epoch, this unmarketed niche private server project is unable to even launch due to the sheer volume of people attempting to play at once. Okay, it's not just the sheer amount of people, the devs kind of are just incompetent, but people are begging for an MMORPG that utilizes classic MMORPG game design philosophy paired with the advancements in technology to provide a more fluid, crisp feeling experience. Just look to OSRS and what they've managed to accomplish lately with their jank old engine. OSRS is the perfect example of a modern MMORPG that combines old school philosophy and modern technological advancements. The results are clear. Many WoW streamers have entered the RuneScape fray, and the game is consistently hitting new all-time highs on random days of the week without even having new content drops. This tells you all you need to know. The formula is there and could be expanded upon further. Okay, I know technically this is classic design, but I'll make the argument that it was popularized by World of Warcraft. MMOs before this did not use this design, and all of the ones like Warhammer Online failed because they copied WoW, and they should have come up with something better than this leveling system. The reality is, what we as the nation of gamers are sick of is not the MMORPG genre. What we're sick of is the uninspired dog water leveling progress with no creativity. I like to question the leveling system of WoW even as a whole, and I constantly get down dukes or flax for it. I understand that it was good for the time and that it's okay that one game exists like this, but why does every game that comes out have to have the same system for character progression? Is forcing players into the same linear route of the same content over and over really something that new games should be emulating? Is crafting entire zones with love, care, and good lore only for them to be abandoned and never visited again the moment you hit level 32 good game design? I just don't know if I can agree with this thought process, yet every single new game copy-pastes the exact same design. Like, we already have World of Warcraft. We don't need you to make a shittier version of it. Why not try a more interactive version of RuneScape's skilling system in a 3D space with different combat, or even a more horizontal approach to MMORPG design entirely? It's like we're incapable of thinking outside of the box. Why is starting at level 1 and doing the same thing for 59 levels and then unlocking the rest of the game incredible design? I'll take responsibility though. I think I do a horrible job at articulating this point, and not to mention I come across as very hostile and attacking, causing people that like this system to get defensive and immediately pivot to their disdain for endgame only raid loggers without being able to think critically on this topic. And to be honest, I don't think I'm talented enough to express my idea for this topic accurately in words or writing. Speaking of writing, look at how most games are written these days. Complete shoehorning of modernist values into gaming, which breaks our immersion, bringing us back into the reality of our crumbling culture, art, and way of life. Like, seriously, just look at retail WoW. The entire storyline is basically a Freudian binky therapy session constantly for every single character, and it makes me nauseous listening to it. I don't want to listen to Thrall talk about his feelings. I want Thrall to grab his big hammer and smash someone's skull because he was in his way. You can just hear the absolute patheticness of the writers coming out in their horrid characters and world building. Currently, the Classic Plus model of RuneScape and World of Warcraft seem to be the direction things are going. The FOMO fresh rotation, whether it be a new game or a new Blaz-like 1x server, is dead, and I for one am pissing on its grave. I think in about 5 years, someone will finally release an MMORPG that encapsulates the way I think and feel about MMORPG design, but I'm unable to speak it because I'm retarded or something. I don't know, sorry guys, I guess I'm not articulate. But yeah, thanks for watching, subscribe, support the channel.